Yo, 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 yo. What the business is, YouTube? This your boy Clarence over here at Pursuit of Freedom. Hold on, this thing say not connected up here. Please don't do it like that. What the hell? Having some technical difficulties. Right when I go to want to make a video, I run into some technical difficulties. Dang, is my signal that low? Yes, I don't know. I might not be able to do it. What the hell? All right. How long that is already? Might need to start over. All right, what the business is, YouTube? This your boy Clarence over here, Pursuit of Freedom. I know I already went through that. Beyond frustration. Beyond frustration. Absolutely terrible start to the month of February. Looking at this trade, I see that the Bears are wide awake. Wide awake. Absolutely massive loss. I mean, extremely massive loss in this OPGN trade. And for me, this trade is a bit of frustration on multiple fronts. So I get into the trade yesterday on the third Monday. I had some settled funds. I noticed that it is spiking big, but I don't get in around the time when the market open. The market open, this thing was pretty much flat. Wasn't really doing too much, right? Actually opened up and fell beneath the volume weighted average price. It gets above the VWAP. It has some light volume. You see these areas where you don't even get bars at first. Now, during this time frame, I'm driving, so I didn't see none of this. I missed all of this. From 9:30 to 10:30 is truthfully about the only time that I'm looking to trade. So, I mean, this trade here was just wrong from its origins. I was in Central Time Zone, so when I stopped in Central Time Zone, it's about 10:15, 10:30. So that pushes this to, you know what I'm saying, 11:30. And then I get to my destination, and then I got to wait in line for about 5 or 6 trucks to pull in and move out. So I'm moving around a little bit. I get there. I'm extremely, extremely late. That seems a little loud right there. That seems a little loud right there. All right, so that seems a little loud. I got to turn that down. But anyway, I end up getting to my load late. So I didn't get a load at that destination. So I had to sit there for a minute. And while I'm waiting to get a load, I said, hey, I ain't finna let this day be a waste. So I looked for some stops. I see a stop that was on the move. Stock that was on the move. It had already reached up and touched the high. So this is 12:04 at that time. And I see that the stock was retracing. By the time I got in the stock was pulling back. Trying to get in about around the exact time. All right, so I can't get to the exact candle, but I'll scroll in some. I'm in right here at about 12:13, 12:15. I had been sitting, waiting for a while to see if I can get another load and go someplace else and pick up. And the stock was pulling back. I see it come down, hits the bottom somewhere here around 240. It's still above the volume weighted average price. So I go to get in at about 12.13 on this candle right here. Pushing back up above my short-term moving averages. So I figure that if it rises from that point up at a minimum to the higher day, I got 10, 11%, 30 cents. I got 1,200 shares, right? So the stock does push higher eventually. But at this time, when I first bought in, right after that, it pushes back down below 240, which was the previous candle, the low of the previous candle. So sometimes I'll use the candle right beside it to set a stop, but I wanted to give this stock a little bit more wiggle room. So I pull back and I see the VWAP is all the way down here at 228. That was what I was thinking at first, but then I look at the chart and see that might have been a good range. 224 was the first stop that I was thinking about, to give it a little bit of wiggle room to at least come to the VWAP and bounce off the VWAP. If it gets beneath the VWAP, I was going to sell. So I'm holding this position, and as time goes on, it's only trending down. Only trending down. And it does kind of what I was thinking at first, because I get a load about 12:30. So it came beneath the VWAP. I'm thinking about selling. It's in that 224 area, but I see it punch back above the VWAP. So I get my load information, because being that I'm on the road and I'm a truck driver, I'm at times, most of the time, looking for a position that I can swing, right? So I check out the stock. I see OPGN shares up after Curtis partnership for coronavirus testing. So I seen that it has some news relating to the coronavirus. And I honestly was thinking that was going to be strong enough to, at a minimum, bring the stock back to the higher day. So it's talking about, but the news is a little old too. I will point that out. The 30th was last Thursday, so right before the weekend. So the news didn't affect the stock too much that Friday. The stock trended up slightly, but ended up only pulling back that Friday. And then Monday, the news finally settled in, and then you had this big, nice push. Now, I'm in the stock way up here around, okay, so you see I found my little whatever that is there. But I'm up in the stock here at 254. The stock was already up 53% when I got in. And the only thing I was really hoping for was for a retest of the higher day. But I was looking to buy on a dip. Looking to get in on a dip buy so that hopefully this thing will push back, break out on the higher day, and I will have an early entry to the breakout. Sometimes that doesn't work, right? But at 12:30, after this thing bounced, I jump on the road, and it was above the VWAP at that time. The only real gain I had in this stock, I was on the road during this time, is the stock pushed back up to 260. I seen that when I stopped. But I didn't stop last night till 11 o'clock at night. I got a late start on my day. Yeah, I started my day after 9 o'clock, right around the market open. And at the market open, I didn't see anything that was worthy. I felt like of me trying to trade. So I pushed on because I had to do some more driving to deliver a load. So while this was running up, I was driving. This is the movement in this stock, which is during the time frame I should have been trading. I came to the trade during the middle of the day. You know what I'm saying? During the middle of the day. And I figured that, hey, this thing is up big. There might be some opportunity to push up higher, even if I have to wait till the afternoon. If it come back up to retest, if it didn't break the higher day, I would sell into this resistance up here and just take a little small profit and keep it trucking, literally. But this thing did nothing but sell off pretty much since I bought. It had one last push later on in the day, and I did see this right here because I was at a rest break. That was like my last chance to really cut my loss with any sort of gain, or not a gain, but without the massive amount of pain that I ended up suffering. But being that I wanted to push the load, I wanted to keep driving. I go ahead and jump back in the truck and get back on the road. And it closed down on the day. I figured that it has coronavirus news. So even though when I stopped later on that night, I was figuring that today the stock market would open, that news would hit, and it probably would move back forward. And it may still end up moving back higher. You know what I'm saying? Which would be painful because I ended up taking an extreme setback in this stock. But today, the 4th, the stock opened up. I'm on the road during this time because I had to go ahead on and get moving. I wanted to deliver the load that I had. So at the market open, I know that I do have a position, but I jump on the road to try to keep my load moving. It didn't do much or nothing though. It dipped for the first 2 minutes, and then for the next 3 minutes, it came up and touched its highest point at 223, which was damn near where it closed yesterday. It closed the day prior at 224. So it didn't even get back to where it closed up yesterday, 224. So I'm driving, and while I'm driving, the bears are eating my lunch. The bears are having a feast on my account while I'm driving. This thing is beneath the VWAP pretty much all day, and it's not doing anything, right? Painful. You want to know what? Being that I stopped at a rest area and slept at a rest area last night, I stopped about 10:30, and I did have a chance to get out at this 198, but I didn't get out. I stopped. I went in. I got my coffee. I peeked at it right quick, but I did not sell, so I could have limited my pain a little bit. That still would have been extremely painful, but I allowed the pain to get even worse. I should have exited here, or when I seen it up at 245 towards the end of the day, when I stopped to take a break right there. You know what I'm saying? So the loss ended up being humongous, minus 894 in one trade. And one trade, I'm in at 254 on the 3rd, out at 179, damn near $1,000 loss. $3,000 position, cut off $1,000 right off the top, just like that. But I mean, it's when you have a trade like this, the only thing you can do is try to learn from it and go ahead on and swallow that loss before the trade swallows your entire investment. So I had to throw in the towel. I stopped to use the bathroom, and the stock had done dipped all the way down here to during like 177. And it's crazy that, of course, the stock pushes back and closes at 180, and I'm out the stock at 179. So I'm out at the absolute low. It dipped as low as 177, but I'm out at the low. That's another bad habit of mine, man. But like, it's an extremely dumb decision for me because this is a risky stock. This anything that I'm trading is going to be extremely risky. This ain't Tesla. Tesla, oh man, Tesla would have been a much better decision, at least for right now. Okay, it's not in the top. But man, my darn trade made the lows. The number 6 worst stock on the day. I mean, this stock pretty much erased everything it had did a day prior. And it may open up in a day or two and be pushing back to try to break out. I'm going to have to be catching that in a day or two. Because, yes, this is a massive loss. That is damn near half of the gains from last month in one trade over the course of 2 days. This is a part of trading. Now, the extra dumb part of this decision, and it's crazy. I just did a video yesterday, a few days ago, on my worst decision of 2019, coming back to get me at the end of January. But this right here so far is the worst decision in 2020. Now, what I'm gonna do from here? Make this a 5 minute chart. But like, and it's lower highs, lower highs. I mean, this thing, the Bears have owned this here stock, have owned this stock. Even with the coronavirus news, this stock is not able to sustain a push higher. So sometimes, even when a stock has news, you know what I'm saying? Even when a stock has news, that doesn't always mean anything. Coronavirus right now, I mean, I got to find some positives in this thing, man. And one of the positives that I find is that I do have enough money to make this account a margin account, not to borrow any money, but to short sale. Because that coronavirus news, even though I think the market actually had a good day today, yeah, look at this here. The NASDAQ is right back, breaking at all-time highs, breaking the all-time high. So the NASDAQ is right back. So the coronavirus has no effect on the NASDAQ. The S&P is pushing back to its highs, and the Dow is making its return to its highs. So, but the coronavirus has awakened the bears. I feel like the bears are awake, or at least in this stock, and selling strong. Let me see something right quick. But I had to just suffer that loss. Now, the dumbest thing that I did was get into a trade and not really be able to properly manage it. Even though I had an opportunity to sell here, but I figured that news would carry the stock higher in the next day. But trading stocks, man, you can't. The euphoria of January is done. The January effect is done. I had a strong January. Now I feel like the bears are awake and they wiggling. They hungry. They starving. They fed on my account today. It's gonna take me a lot of trades, a lot of small trades to get this darn $900 back, $1,000 back. So February is looking to be a rough month. It might take me the entire month. It might take me the entire month to get that kind of gain back. That's more than a week, because I ain't had a $800 or $900 a week driving this truck, not after taxes. So that's more than a week's pay in one trade. But it is what it is. It is what it is. You have to throw in the towel and admit defeat. And this was a case where the bull lost against the bear. This stock looked to be like a bear trap, even with that good news. Even with that news. But when I can't sit in front of the stock and properly manage it, I need to not even be trading. I need to not be in a stock, because this ain't quite what I would look for to swing. But I felt like with this news, I could swing in this stock. I could hang in this stock for a few days, and it would just uptrend, kind of like a couple of my last trades did. What, like CLSD. This stock ended up getting above $4. And I figured this thing with that type of news would just continue to uptrend and then eventually sell off some. But that was not the case. That was not the case. And before the stock ends up back down here where it was at 140, I mean, I had to go ahead and get out. Some changes that I got to have to make. One, if I stop to take a quick rest break and I'm looking to trade a stock, in and out of the stock in that rest break, it's going to be a must for me. Because, I mean, you always can just simply make some adjustments. The market is going to be open again tomorrow. I've seen some trades already that I sold a little early. I could have had massive gains. I could have had several $1,000 plus trades last month in some of the stocks that I traded. So I'm not worried about this loss. I hate the fact that I had to suffer this type of loss and I got out right at the bottom. But I'm throwing the towel. Being wrong has already costed me enough money in this one trade alone. But being in a stock that's a risky trade, and driving a truck where I cannot look at the stock, I cannot manage the trade while I'm on the road. That ultimately is the dumbest decision that I made in this here stock. Because there's going to be times when you buy a stock, or I buy a stock, you know what I'm saying, and you're just going to be wrong. Just going to be wrong. About 12, 13. You know what I'm saying? So I'm buying it around this time here. Number 12, 13 would be in this period. So it's pulling back off the high. I'm looking at a 5-minute chart. So this one looks a little different. Go back to my 1-minute chart. This was the only time, but I was driving the truck during that time where I could have took a tiny gain of 4 cents, 6 cents, 6 cents gained on a 1,200 shares. It was 12 times 6. $72. So that would have been a worthy little gain. 12 times 6 is 72. So, I mean, I could have locked in $72. It would have been a small green trade, but I had no idea until I stopped the truck anyway that the stock had did this. The next time I stopped the truck was right before the market closed, and I seen it pushing up right here. And this is only 3 1-minute candles. Push higher, and then it got sold off. And look, any sort of little bounce or push higher got sold. Little push higher here, sold down. So this thing really had lower highs and lower highs. There's a lot of selling in this stock. A lot of selling in this stock. Stock is done. It may bounce back in a few days. It may not. So I cannot continue to hold this position. I had a chance to get out at 196 when I stopped this morning. I should have got out then, but I'm out at 179 with like another $200 loss. And that is what it is. That's trading stocks. That's trading stocks. I could have been in this here winner, or tomorrow I can possibly find a winner and end up with a nice growth. Look at this. Look at this here. 257% higher. You know what I'm saying? I got a discrepancy here, man. So on my daily chart, this thing is pushed all the way up, and it's got it closing up here at 33, 34. But on my intraday chart, I got the stock closing 359 down here at $13. So it's something not right there. I don't know. I don't know. But this is a massive move in this stock. That's got to be accompanied by some news. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Well, that's frustrating. I mean, that's dumb, though. So now I was up as high as 63% the first month, just like that. 10%, 11% wiped out in one fucking trade. But that is what it is, man. Now I got to play get back. There are going to be losses that I already know. Oh, no, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. MYO. Because I see I wake up and I look around and I see this. I wish I would have had this stock yesterday. Yeah, dang. Man, see, if I'd have been driving while in this stock here, I probably would have kept that habit of driving to be in the stock, but I can no longer do that. I can't do that. That's got to be the first thing that I cut. If I'm not looking at the stock, eyeballing the stock, I cannot be in the trade. But so let me see what else was up here, man. What else is up? See, but this is another one that gapped up and took a dump. And I don't know. The Bears are awake. The Bears are up, man. They're alive and well. Alive and well right now. They've been waiting. They've been waiting for that coronavirus news or some sort of. Look at this. DGLY, another gap, and this thing took a dump all day. So the Bears are awake, man. That's what I see. Oh, LJPC. I traded this stock a while ago, and another strong push. This thing here is looking to be a breakout pretty soon. So I don't know. I might have to I have to see about using that to stair step my way out of this deep hole I've dug to begin February. But it is what it is, man. Massive loss for me to start the month. I don't want this thing to get too long. Go ahead and give me the thumbs down. The Terrible Trader Award recipient. But I know I'm not gonna stop. Profitability is coming. There's some weakness though. One thing I will point out while I'm joking that 10 stocks out of 2,344 are up 20% on the day. And then I like to come down and see how many are up at least 10%. 60 stocks out of 2,344 of the type of stocks that I would trade, 60 out of 2,344 are up 10%. So that's weakness to me in the market. The blue chip companies are doing good though because the market is pushing back. But the stocks that I typically trade are looking like they slowing down. Look at that though. I might have to go back to a stock I traded way over here. Man, I wish I would have caught this movement here. Whew. But it is what it is, man. Massive loss to begin February. This is Pursuit of Freedom.